Hey, bada bing, bada boom. How we doing? Hey, welcome. Wolf Alone, Early Crew, hello, hello. Ken Kotha, hello, Jeremy. How you doing? Whenever I see a person that I know in any kind of public forum, whether it's Twitch or in person, there's just this slight slant of like, oh my goodness, hello. Why, hey. Hey, Ship of Fools, thank you so much. Welcome back for month 20. That's a lot of ding-dang months. Hello, hello. Asher, welcome in. Who else we got? Stronghold D&D, thank you again so much for gifting all those subs. That is crazy. You are the MVP of the night. Thank you so much. We never ever expect Twitch to be like a money thing. All the trolls will tell you that, but like any support does help us a lot, so thank you so much. Blaze, welcome in. Thanks for popping by. Venom, hello, hello. All the awesome friends tonight. How we doing? We expect to lose money most of the time, or sanity, or both. What am I trying to say here? I've like started to hopefully plant the seeds of like a subathon, and it'll be the most costly thing that I think any of us ever do as far as our like mental health is concerned, but I think it'll be worth it. It's gonna happen. I really hope so. I think it'd be really great. Would that not be so awesome? I think that'd be awesome. Lurking and playing CNC as we speak. Dude, okay. Are you a CK or are you a player? I hope you're not CKing and also listening to me, because that's a bad mix. Steve already said go for it, that it would be funny. We're in, boys! we gotta like figure out a schedule of stuff to do. We gotta figure out what's on the docket. I think it'll be awesome. So, hey, you heard it here first. Subathon. After GaryCon, most definitely. Player, we've been going over 10 years. Dude. Okay, so that's actually a great segue into what we're doing today. We're not going to be reading through the Codex of Air tonight. We're taking a break, and we are instead going to just talk world building and games. So, if you'd like, if you're free to, like, tell me about your character. Tell me about, like, the game that you're playing. I want to know about it. Looks like subs back on the menu, boys. Okay, I've been trying really hard to do, like, the gravelly thing. The gravelly voice thing. There's nothing that I desire more in this life than to be able to, like, do that. Like, looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. I just sound like a smoker. Some people can go into this really, like, gravelly kind of level. I just sound like an older, worse version of myself. Maybe not subathon so much as a general long-form marathon. Yeah, maybe not like a subathon as much as like a Herculean trial. I don't know about anybody else. 1 hour of streaming wipes me. So we're going to have a really fun time filling 24 hours with streaming content. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. But like when you're exhausted, and especially like if you're not the only person that's actually in the stream, then you can kind of like lean on each other a little bit. I think that'll be so much fun. It'll be really great. But yeah, we are today, speaking of leaning on other people to help provide content for the hour or so that you're going to be streaming, we're going to like hang out and just kind of talk about world building, any of like your own settings that like you've written or created. Fucking, oh my god, Magnus, holy shit. Thank you so much. Dear God, you people. God damn. Thank you so much I don't want to like just repeat the same spiel every time, but I can't say it enough. Like we don't take anything for granted with Twitch. Like we never expect to make any amount of money. We never we go into every stream expecting like 0 people to show up. Like your time is the important thing, and the fact that y'all could be doing anything on a Monday night and you're spending an hour here with me, that's really lovely. And so like thank you for showing up and spending your time here, and then also choosing to support what we do. That means a lot, and you're so appreciated and welcome, and it's good to see you. Please reconsider how you spend your money, because we're going to use it on Dr. Pepper. Steve's going to use it on Dr. Pepper. I don't drink soda. I only recently got into black coffee. So, fun fact of the day. A palette of it. So, I talk about... Oh, and Lucetios. Welcome in. So good to see you. I talk about Dr. Pepper so many more instances in a week than ever before in 27 years of life. And I'm getting served memes by the algorithm about Dr. Pepper. I've seen it all. I've seen like fake ads for Dr. Shit. I've seen Dr. Salt. I've seen Dr. Asparagus and Dr. Green Beans. I've seen everything. There's a lot of Dr. Pepper memes out there, it turns out. There's a whole genre. It's like untapped potential. But I've never tasted it. How many flavors are in Dr. Pepper? I know that like these brands love to brag about
26 or 23.
26 or 23. Place your bets now. Flavors are in Dr. Pepper. Our special blend of 48 spices. 23 flavors. Good guess. Ooh. Cola, cherry, licorice, amaretto, almond, vanilla, blackberry, apricot, blackberry again. This is blackberry twice. Caramel, pepper, anise, sarsaparilla, ginger, molasses, lemon, and then it goes on. There's blackberry in there twice. Oh, sorry. I was trying to be supportive, Gracia. Oh, well, Pat, thank you. I appreciate you, my friend. 23. I used to sell Dr. Pepper. Can you tell us the like insider secrets? Can you give us like the trade secrets? Ahmed, welcome in. Thanks for watching on YouTube. We are live currently on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch because we made it to the 21st century and learned how to restream to different platforms at the same time. So here we are. The KFC Twitter account. I love that. I haven't read the rest of your comment yet, Jeremy. I'm happy that you're telling me something about the KFC Twitter account. Only follows the Spice Girls and 11 random guys being turned. That's funny. I love it when like a mega corporation commits to the bit. You know what I mean? I'm outside at 4 a.m. I was listening to some music, trying to chill out, and I find you. Well, Ahmed, welcome in. We're happy to have you. If you just like found us on the internet, we are Troll Lord Games. Almost every day of the week, we have a different like stream here. Mine is usually live reading, and it's very, very chill. We're considerably less chill today because I'm having a coffee, and we are going to talk world building. So if you're a writer or a gamer, if you've ever had like a cool idea ever, just if you're any kind of creative and you've had like an interesting thought, I want to hear it. So welcome in. Ooh, trade secrets. There are 12 cans to a 12 pack, 24 in a case. Ooh, do we still have music? We should. I'm just gonna check on that really fast. Can y'all still hear the music? We should still be good, I guess. 12 cans to a 12 pack. 24 in a case. Jesus Christ. 6 cans usually fit in a 6-pack box. That's nuts. I never would have thought. So crazy. Thank you for the insight. Choo choo, thank y'all for the hype train on Twitch. We super appreciate it. Savo, welcome in on YouTube. How are you today? Ooh, my God, what a coincidence. I am an artist and I'm a writer, and I also love listening to music, writing music, and also animation. Watching music, movies, and playing video games. Hell yeah, dude! Wait, okay, so you do animation. My boyfriend and I have recently figured out how hard that is. Animation is complicated. I have a whole new respect for people that do animation. Art is hard enough. I have not really ventured into the art world myself until kind of recently, and I'm taking my first trembling steps into the art world. But animation is it's in a league of its own. Ooh, setting idea. The world arose from the death of the god snail. The interior of the god's snail shell serves as the world itself. Here's the thing. I'm kind of into it. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Okay, so imagine, I'm picturing almost like a sci-fi sort of thing, where like, if you live like in the inner like coil of this like snail shell shaped world, like you would just look up and like your whole world would just be like, I'm word salading, I'm so sorry. It's like you've got the ground in front of you, but like up around you, like there's no sky, it's all like ground. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say.
No, I know what you mean. Like it would be like living inside. It would be like living inside a big piece of macaroni.
Yeah, but like what I'm trying to explain is like,
Yeah.
like Interstellar. If anyone's seen Interstellar, no spoilers, but
In the big tube.
the thing at the end of the Interstellar where you take like your world and you make it a tube.
You make it into a piece of penne pasta.
It's penne pasta. And then it would be like all dark because it's on the inside of this like structure. And so you'd have like the, I don't know, glowing like maybe moss or something that like glows and illuminates the inner coil of the snail shell. I'm really into it. I think that would be awesome.
Oops.
Siri, welcome in. So good to see you.
The Siri?
The Siri. Hey Siri. Wait, not you. Sorry. Whoa, not you either. A place I have designed but haven't been able to use. The Grand Isles of Magwin. It is 8 islands, each representing a school of magic. Hell yeah. Surrounding a center island grand tower. It is a way out in the ocean, and only those invited can find it due to all the protection magic. That's hella cool. So is one island responsible for the protection of the entire island chain? Abjuration Island. Puppy, you come here. Oh, say hello, hello. Mr. Man. You'd see more ground unless there is some sort of light emitting core that threads through the spiral. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, like you'd see just ground all around you. I'm sure gravity would be like topsy-turvy and whatever, which would be so interesting. I kind of love this idea. Puppy. By the way, I'm also a philosopher, by the way. I also subscribe. I think your channel is my type. I'm so glad. Thank you for subscribing. If you've ever played like a tabletop RPG, it's like long form storytelling with your friends that's collaborative, and it's awesome. And it seems like if you're interested in like philosophy and art and like music and just, I think you'll be really interested in it. We have a couple different actual plays, so if you want to see our game being played, you're in the right spot on YouTube. We've got 3 different series. Martin Smith on YouTube. You have a smile that can light up any room, glowing with elegance and grace. Oh my goodness. Stop, I'm going to blush. Wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words. Larry Given had a short piece called Bigger Than Worlds that explores a lot of those concepts from a science fiction perspective. Recommended read for anyone getting into strange world shapes. Hell yeah. That sounds super cool. Let me look it up really quick. I'm also gonna bring my seat up a little bit and bump into everything. Okay, so Bigger Than Worlds. Larry Niven, okay. Well, hell yeah, I'll check that out. That sounds awesome. I love literature on, like, world building. Larry Niven knows his shit. What are his accreditations? Ooh, okay. It's LarryNiven.net. Not LarryNiven.com. It's LarryNiven.net. So you know it's... Ooh, okay. So each island has a tower built on it, which is headed by a master of that kind of magic, with the Archmage governing the center tower and general rule of the college. Ooh, okay, so the island chain is a college? Or is it just the center tower that's a college? Each master is required to design a protective spell to protect the school. It is a magic school that is a totally neutral organization. Wizards can take sides on the mainland, but on the islands it is only about the study of magic. That is so cool. I'm mad that I didn't think of that first. That is so cool. So, like, here I am thinking, like, oh, so the protection school of magic is responsible for the protection of all the islands. No. Like, each school of magic is capable of protection, but they would just do it in their own, like, way. That's so sick. I love that. Do you have, like, tell me more. I don't know. I want to know more. That's so cool. Larry Niven wrote Ringworld. You might recognize the concept from Halo. Halo, actually, was a game that I never played because I saw a cutscene where one of the bad guys was getting, like, stripped of his armor, and it scared me. So I didn't watch it anymore. Ringworld. Okay, so, like, yeah, same concept. This is the same concept that I'm imagining for this, like, snail shell world, where, like, the world is shaped inside of the snail shell, so it's not like there's a ground and a sky. It's like, it's all earth. It's all ground. I'm making less sense the more that I'm talking about it. Ahmed says, when I was a kid, I used to draw a lot of things, stories and comics. When I grew up, I went to my old house, and I find some of the drawers I draw and book I wrote after I find when I read them. That's so special to, like, go home and find your old stuff. I'm really fortunate. My parents moved a couple of years ago, but they kept a lot of my, like, childhood, like, writings and stuff like that. So special to be able to look back on some of that stuff. Niven also wrote Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex, about what engaging in intercourse with Superman would be like. I'm thinking too hard about this. I should not imagine this. What, like, he could be gentle. He could be gentle. I don't know, right? I don't think that's crazy. Superman, I think he could, like, I'm just gonna stop. It was his known space source book. I met him at a con. He used the RPG to keep track of things for his own writing. Known space. I've never heard of that either. This is becoming a big Google night. Known space. Okay. Man, I've got a lot of Larry Niven to read after this. Well, we'll have a long trip to Gary Con, so. That's a lie. We'll be doing
you'll
this.
famously be reading in the car.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. I get sick. The reality is we'll be doing this. Nick and I are driving to Gary Con, and it'll be like something like 12 hours in the end after like picking up everyone that we need to pick up along the way. And we'll just be talking about world building the whole time, pretty much.
It's going to be great fun.
It's going to be great fun. Moto Destructo, thank you so much for the follow, my friend. Clark Kent is a nice boy. He's a nice boy with restraint.
But here's the thing. Not to like jump in on your rodeo.
No, tell me.
But how much...
No, say it.
Could I say whatever I want? I mean, within
Maybe.
reason. I mean, we're talking about him having sex, right? Like,
We're talking about Superman having sex.
so what I'm thinking is like, at what force would he ejaculate? And that's what I'm saying. Like,
So like he's
I
doing
think
whatever
he
with his
could
muscles,
be gentle.
but like he sperms and it like
Yeah, like a fucking rail gun.
like a rail gun. Well, thanks for coming, folks. Ooh, I'll be driving 14 hours to Gary Con myself. Good times. God damn. Where from, if you don't mind me asking? Abjuration creates force wards around the islands. Conjuration conjures elementals that hide among the natural elements. Hell yeah. Divination provides early warnings and scry protection. Enchantments messes with the minds of anyone approaching. Evocation creates the offensive countermeasures. Illusion hides it from sight and sound. Necromancy tires you. Necromancy tires you, and there are undead in the water. I get it now. Transmutation constantly shapes the water and island dirt to confuse and redirect you. That is so cool. That would be such a fun, like, thing to go through as a player to, like, invade. I know that it's like a school, but I love that concept as, like, a dungeon. I think that'd be super fun. I hadn't considered that. You're telling me you hadn't considered Superman's cum? Some fan, am I right?
Fan.
Fake fans. You can find that Kleenex story on Niven's website. It's actually famous, and I'm sure it is. Oops. I'm surprised that I haven't heard of it yet. And read Ringworld. It's a classic adventure story. It'll give you ideas. Absolutely. I've got that pulled. Ooh, I don't have that pulled up yet. Ringworld. Yes. Absolutely going to check that out. Thank you for the recommendation. I'm super excited. He was invited to speak to the engineering college at MIT. He needed a topic that the audience wasn't more informed about than him. Wait, in regards to which topic? Wolf is like, la 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 la, I can't hear you, la la la. The cum talk is over. That's in the past. We're leaving it behind.
Past, present, and future.
We're leaving it firmly, decidedly in the past. New setting idea. Dark Age Earth-like setting, circa 1080. Humans only. The only monsters are aberrations. The gods have left, and mankind must contend with the forces of the outer dark which have arrived in their absence. Optional edition, with the gods leaving, the sun goes out. Ooh, okay, as soon as you said the only monsters are aberrations, I was picturing, like, this black, like, night landscape that's, like, barren and, like, really, like, Scrabble for, like, any sort of, like, sustenance or, like, resources. I think that's so cool. Where were... I suck. Where were people at in 1000 AD? Human life. Where were we at? People lived in one-room huts with a fireplace fueled by wood, pots of oil 24/7. In continental Europe, the Holy Roman Empire established itself at its most powerful state. Man, okay, so fuck, that's cool. So you'd have these, like, monumental, like, great structures, this, like, these civilizations at their height, and then all of a sudden the lights go out, and these, like, monsters are like hell has come to Earth, I'm sure, is what these people would think. I don't know if we're thinking, like, actually Earth. Wait, did you say that? Dark Age Earth-like setting. But, yeah. Well, the Holy Roman Empire was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire, but yeah. Fair. Well, it certainly wouldn't be after the events of this. Ooh, Arthur Hoffra. I'm going to run a sort of post-apocalyptic setting with CNC. Yeah. Iron and any other similar metallurgy has become useless, and the remnants of civilization live in the old fortress of ancient wizards. Interesting. Okay. Can you explain that a little bit more? Ooh, Randall Thor says that is basically Blades in the Dark. I have not heard of that. With aberrations instead of undead.
Oh,
Sick.
Blades in the Dark is what Zach wants to run for us.
Oh, okay. Sick.
Yeah.
Then I have heard of Blades in the Dark. Very passingly. So, iron has become useless. For someone who knows nothing, does that mean that, like, you don't have any, like, metal anything in this world? I had a setting set after the final battle of the gods of good and evil. They left, their story complete, and all that was left was the remnants of their forces. The PC started in a land that a wizard sheltered from the apocalypse by slowing time. Ooh. That's cool. Okay, so you have, like, a world that's been through an apocalypse, but a wizard sheltered this one part of it where all of the PCs grew up, and it's, like, the last place on Earth. And then they, like, trek out, like, forward. That's really cool. We played something similar. This was actually the second D&D campaign I ever played in, and played from the first one I ever played from start to finish. And basically we lived in this grand city that we thought was the only city left in the entire world. The world was called Ios, and the city was called Grand Marcellia. And it was like, yeah, the world's been through an apocalypse. There's no other city. And our city that we lived in was, first of all, not the only city in the world. That was propaganda. And our city was, like, the lair of a lich. And that's why that was going on. If you did set it on Earth, you could tie it into the apocalypse myths of various existing religions of the time. That's what I was thinking. Like, it would almost be more interesting to set it in Earth specifically so that you could then, like, pull on stuff. Not that it wouldn't be really, like, evocative and cool as, like, a fantasy setting and landscape, but, like, fantasy as in like not set on Earth, you know. Ooh. My fantasy world is more like a different fantasies world where monsters and humans live together. The main character is a tall guy covered in darkness with eyeballs and eye lines who are white. Ooh, so is it just like the darkness that he's covered in, or is it also like covered in eyes? Because that would be cool. You could still have bronze and other metals. So because copper casting is the only reliable source of metal weapons, agriculture, building tools, and warfare has taken a backseat to nature reclaiming the world. I love stuff like that. One of my favorite video games, and really just like stories ever, is Horizon Zero Dawn. And just the image of it, just the like skyscrapers consumed by like vines and moss and like all this shit. I think it's so cool. Marseille is actually a French city. I did not know that. That's cool. Marseille, France. Marseille. Oui, oui. Hell yeah, that's cool. I would love to go to Marseille, France. In Nivens, the magic goes away. Mana, magic, was a resource tied to the land, and it could be used up, creating dead magic areas that magical creatures and structures couldn't exist in. Ooh, I like that. We also have mana in our home world, the setting that we designed and homebrewed called Terminus. It's like a mineral. It's not a metal. It's like a mineral found in mines. But we haven't really talked about what happens if mana is like overmined.
Only the dwarves really have like any knowledge or access of it. And
yeah, only the dwarves have tapped into this thing called mana.
I don't even think they know like fully what it's capable of. They
Yeah.
use it for light.
They use it for light. It's capable of much more, but they're very, very early into this discovery, so they haven't really figured it out yet. But they will, and it'll be fine.
Somebody.
By the way, I'm from Iraq, the country where writing started. That's so cool. Wait a minute. I am going to look something up. I'm looking up how to say hello. But I don't want to necessarily trust the internet. How do you say hello in Arabic? I don't want to just be like offensive. The main character I mentioned used a samurai sword, a green samurai sword. He has Japanese clothes, and his best friend is a Wild West bounty hunter, or like cowboy kind of character, and one robotic arm. That's so cool. That's awesome. Ragnarok, the Apocalypse of John, Al Malhamat, Al Kubra, Aharat, Ha, Yamim, Kali Yuga, etc. What are we talking about? Oh, different apocalypse myths. Dude. I don't know most of these stories. I read a lot of like Greek mythology growing up, but I kind of stayed away from like any sort of apocalypse myth, and just then like never investigated that again. And so I don't know any apocalypse myths. Do you have a favorite one? If you like nature reclaiming, you should watch an old show from 2009 called Life After People. ooh, I've heard of this, and it's horrifying. Because they were talking about, like, nuclear reactors and stuff with no one to maintain them would absolutely just wreak havoc on everything. Ever. I guess not ever. Eventually things would be okay again. There's also a book titled The World Without Us, which explores the same topic. That's so cool. Ooh, Dead Marsh, welcome in from YouTube. For settings, I always feel like less is more. The best settings I've played in are just steeped in mystery, slowly revealed. Forbidden Lands comes to mind. I love that game and the Hex Crawl. Something's in the water. I've been hearing so much about Hex Crawl these last few days. I think I can agree with that. I love having like a rich history to draw on. So like currently I'm in the middle of my first stint DMing. I think if I were to start again from the beginning, there's a lot of stuff that I would do totally differently. And maybe part of that is like not luring it up so much and just like letting stuff be mysterious and like, you know. Hey Chuck, welcome in. How are you doing today? How was transporting the princess? Oh, also, someone on Facebook chimed in. I missed you. William Frady, hello from North Carolina. Hello from Tennessee. How's stuff going in North Carolina? Welcome in. The Shannara series by Terry Brooks also features a fantasy environment set upon a modern post-apocalyptic world. Ooh, okay. Shannara series. You guys are giving me a really good list here. Terry Brooks. Okay. I don't know any of these, like, plots. I've seen some of these covers before. I used to work at the Center for Poetry at the university that I went to. And we had this basement full of used books. And it was just, like, piled, like, ceiling to floor boxes of, like, old used books. And we would do like a used book drive, and so over the year we'd accumulate all these used books, and then we would try to sell as many as we could. And I would go in there because I had a key, and I would just sit in the basement with all the used books, and I would like just read them. I'd never picked up any of the Terry Brooks ones. I clearly should have, but we had so many Terry Brooks books. Terry Books. You like that one? Thanks. She had a nice ride to get ice cream, then home to the parents. I want ice cream. I've been wanting ice cream all day.
We got ice cream yesterday.
We got ice cream yesterday. I can't get ice cream today. We went to the zoo yesterday. It was awesome. Arthur says, having a rich history is fine. It's all about showing and not telling. Exactly. Have mysteries and don't answer them unless they find the pieces in the world. Right. So I've very much, like, it's been about 1.5 years that I've been DMing. This is 5e. And, like, I think over the last few months, I've had, like, GM burnout kind of get to me. I can feel it. And like I've been kind of DMing every session to get to the next session instead of to like figure out what the grand like overarching like story is and where we're going. 'Cause I've totally been like overwhelmed about it. 'Cause you know, if you like GM anything for like multiple, you know, over 1 year, I'm sure like it starts to get to you. I think I would start with a cleaner idea of what the story is going to be if I were to start again from scratch. Because with this one, it was very much like, I don't really know how to run a game, so I'm just going to like throw out some leads and we'll see where they go. And that was a fine way to do things, but you know. William says, I am 10,000 years into a 20,000 year history in the world that I've been building. Dude, tell me about it. That's what we're here for. That sounds so cool. I just moved from Knoxville a year ago down to Florida where all my friends and family are. That is quite the change of view. That's awesome. My boyfriend also moved from Knoxville to come here. Knoxville's great. I love downtown Knoxville. It's so cool. Hey, keyboard wielder, welcome in. From what channel does Terminus stream from on Twitch? Yeah, that's us. Let me link it really quick. And this is for, I guess, anyone that's like interested in the stuff that I do and that my friends do. I'm part of a gang called Hearth Coven Games, and we have our own actual play series. We have our CNC actual play series, which is uploaded to YouTube every Monday. There's a new episode out right now. And over on Twitch, on Hearth Coven Games, we have our 5e game, which is what I DM. And that is set in our homebrew world of Terminus. I'm super proud of it. I think it's the coolest creative project I've ever been a part of, and it's awesome. Josh Jared says, Prince of Thorns is similar to Shannara, being a medieval world that is a post-apocalyptic setting. It's quite brutal. That's totally fair. Ooh, George, welcome in. Good to see ya. What's your favorite ice cream flavor? I'm a big texture person, so my favorite ever is a Ben & Jerry's Target exclusive flavor called Peanut Butter World. It is chocolate ice cream, and it has chocolate cookies in it, and then like peanut butter chunks. That's my favorite ever, but usually I'll opt for like mint chocolate chip. I always kind of giggle giving that answer because it sounds so ridiculous. Ooh. I'm working on lore for my current game. Dwarves travel... I'm so behind on comments, y'all. I'm sorry. Dwarves travel in a group of 200 for about 50 years looking for their ancestral homeland of Morthingar, the first mountain. If after 50 years they don't find it, they settle and start a new town. After about another 100 years, when they have enough young folk to send, they create a new group that then wanders looking for Morthingar. Rinse and repeat. Explains why each region has at least one dwarven settlement. That is so cool. That's so cool. Okay, so like I'm imagining then like the culture in these settlements after they've sent out like the next group. That would be such a great like adventurer backstory. Like you were too young to go with the other adventurers. And like just they're like just a hair. You're just too young to go. And so you like strike out on your own, or like an inciting incident happens, whatever. That's so cool. I really like that concept. I love dwarves as anything other than like the Tolkien, like we're stubborn and we live in the mountains and we're all white and like, you know. In our world of Terminus, the dwarves have a lot more in common with like Egyptian culture than any sort of like Northern Europe, like mountain dwelling kind of culture. And a lot of the dwarves writing was actually mostly Nick, and it's really, really great. We just like the thought of like the geometric kind of like structures, and like it just made sense for like how we think about dwarves. You look like a fairy, you talk like a fairy, you were a fairy in your previous life in Celestial World. You have a house made up of candies and chocolates. I would love to have a house made of candies and chocolates. Gee, thanks. That's really sweet. I appreciate you. Welcome in. Thanks for hanging out. I'm a French vanilla guy. Ooh, okay. A classic. Can't shit on the classics. French vanilla is an excellent flavor to have as like your favorite. anywhere you go, you're not going to be like disappointed. Mm. I try to avoid imposing a narrative on the games. Play and story is antithetical to the flow of how games actually are played at the table. Emergent narrative is easier to run and also more memorable. That's also true. That's kind of what I weighed when I started. I was like, do I want to have an idea? And then that was daunting, so I was like, no, I'll just like wing it, because that's a way to do, like, people do that. I don't know. You know? It's easy to feel like you've swung too far one way or the other. But it's never too late to find the balance, and I think I've finally come to the point where it's like, you know, I gotta catch up with chat. I'm so sorry, y'all. I miss the gang. I'm looking forward to cheering them on in the next one or quietly rooting for their destruction. Thanks. Well, we have a good time. All of our uploads, or all of our streams are also uploaded to YouTube. We have Hearthcoming Games on YouTube as well. I find that starting the story with the ending, then make a sandbox with emergent gameplay and let the story be created by the players. That, I think, is... That feels good. Like, start it knowing kind of how things are going to end, sort of. And then you can, like, play the long game if you want to. Like, I now have plot points running in my game that I didn't know about a month ago and could never have, like, hinted at. So, you know. I think you could use StreamYard to talk with us, and we could talk about our fantasy stories. I've never heard of StreamYard, but we are live here 4 out of 5 days of the week, I'm pretty sure. And we also have our Discord. Let me actually get that link here. Discord. All right. Mint chocolate chip for the win. Wolf alone, I knew it. You strike me as a mint chocolate chip person. Butter pecan. Ooh, also makes sense. That makes sense too. Cherry Garcia. Willie, it's so good to see you. Welcome in. Facebook comments or something else. Dude, I have heard some shit. My homebrew world is kind of complicated. A bunch of lesser and intermediate gods, tired of not being the top dogs, conspired with the elemental lords and the elder dragons to create their own world from the body of a fallen elder god. That's cool. So you have this world run by, like, I'm sure there's a range in their personalities, but, like, some egotistical kind of, like, you know, people that are powerful enough that, like, for them to have an ego is dangerous. That sounds super cool. The world of Aerith is an ever-growing world that is currently comprised of the continent of Lauren, the island of Igraine, and a brand new continent of Gelinor. It is a style that I call fairy fantasy with some gothic overtones. Fairy fantasy with gothic overtones sounds like my shit. That sounds so cool. Am I crazy? Or is the world of Aerith online somewhere? I feel like these words ring a bell. Aerith, Lauren, and Igraine. Am I crazy? Maybe I'm just crazy. Unless you have, like, a book or a stream or something going on. Does that sound familiar to you, the world of Aerith?
I'm just laughing at, like, somebody on the internet echoing, am I crazy?
Am I crazy? The answer is yes. Strawberry vanilla. Ooh,
doesn't sound familiar to me offhand, but, like, you have explored a lot more of that space than I have.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought if I did a homebrew, dwarves and gnomes would be Norse, with Loki being the only god that's a gnome. Ooh, that'd be cool. I like Loki as a gnome. Elves would have a Greek culture and halflings would be Celtic. That's awesome. In our world, it's more of like the orcs who have kind of like Celtic kind of stuff going on. Like their language is heavily influenced by like Gaelic and stuff like that. Ooh, if you aren't going to impose a narrative, you need to build the immediate world around them so that they can't go more than 5 feet without tripping over adventure hooks. Go north, slaver camp. Go northeast, that's where the Lord of all the Lord of all spiders lairs. East, there's a haunted house that way. Yeah. And that sounds really fun. That sounds really great to be able to just kind of drop stuff in without like worrying too much, you know? Wedding cake gelato. Ooh, that sounds awesome. There is a place that has like a few locations in Nashville called Jenny's Ice Cream, and they have a flavor called gooey butter cake. God, it's good. It's so good. Bluebell Dr. Pepper float vanilla. Of course, that's so on brand. So on brand. Ooh, I get inspired by listening to music and playing video games. Little nightmares give me the dark vibe in my stories. Hell yeah. I think that's awesome. Pulling from like your dreams and your nightmares and like all sorts of stuff. I don't know if I've ever been able to do that myself. I feel like a lot of my dreams are pretty discombobulated. Actually, that's a lie. I started talking with some people over at a company called World of Game Design a couple of years ago, and we were gonna maybe do like a Backrooms themed like tabletop RPG. And I have this recurring nightmare where I'm in like a parking garage, and it's always the same parking garage. It's just like this endless expanse of concrete with these flickering like shitty little lights that barely light anything up. And there's always like something chasing me. I never see it or know what it is. But I'm always like running through this parking garage and like going into little side janitor's closets and hiding, and like it feels very Backrooms. It is on my website. The Ebonstone Tower. Have I heard of this before? W.R. Frady. Do you have like a booth at gaming conventions? Because W.R. Frady, I swear, that looks familiar. Well, welcome in. I'm glad to have your website. I'll check this out. This is hella cool. Thank you for sharing. Ooh, okay. Arthur says, does anyone have any ideas for alternative sources of divine magic than gods? Something that would have a mechanical and narrative impact. That's a good question. A source for divine magic that does not come from gods. My first thought is like elemental magic, flavored to be like treated as divine, but I don't know if that's really what you're going for.
What about like the collective of like people?
Ooh.
You know,
a collective of people.
Like rather than like the power coming from the god, like the same ideas, like gods get their power from the faith of their followers.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like the faith of people that generates the power, rather than the god itself.
Interesting. So like all of the people in an area hold a belief, and then being together and holding this belief is what makes it real.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool. That makes me think of like
the more constituents like a church has, like the more powerful the magic.
Yeah. That's hella cool. That's a really great idea.
Related to the gods, but
yeah, but there's no god.
But there's or if there is a God, like they're not the ones giving the power. It's the conviction of the believers as a collective.
Yeah. That's hella cool. I like that idea. Time for me to go. George, have a lovely night. Thanks for popping by. I know that I'm like so behind on chat. You probably said that a while ago. It's really fun to run it that way. I don't have to stress too hard about stuff. I've been stressing so hard about stuff. I need to just not. I've been needing to have a sit down and like think about that shit differently. And I need to just like dedicate the time to like sit down and do it. There hasn't been a moment recently, but I think there's going to be some time, probably tomorrow, so I'll probably do that. What is that place on Nashville? I'll be there on Saturday for a Disturbed concert. Hey, hell yeah. Jenny's Ice Cream. I don't know if you're going to be on Broadway, but they have a location on Broadway.
It's a concert. It's going to be on Broadway.
Yeah. Also, if they have a home base, they won't usually wander too far from that, so I can just draw like a 3-day walk circle around that base and just build the setting there. Hell yeah. Like, you learn a lot when you're doing it for the first time, you know? I think, like, so I don't know if I've, like, really talked about Terminus on this channel very much, but I did not make Terminus. I was one person in a group of people who made Terminus. We played a game called Dawn of Worlds, which is a tabletop RPG. It's like a 3-page PDF that's available for free on the internet. It's so much fun. You all play gods of whatever domain you can think of. And there's like 3 phases to the game. So there's like a geography phase and a race building phase and then like a culture and politics phase. And I never want to make a homebrew setting any other way again. It was so much fun. But we crafted Terminus through playing this game together. And I think that I started this campaign a little bit unsure because I didn't want to like step on anybody else's narrative territory, even though it doesn't work like that. And it's the game that I'm running, and like I can make choices and stuff like that, and it won't reflect, you know, like I felt like I didn't own the world. And so I was really hesitant to like do stuff with it, and especially where like, you know, if I created a city and then like the party went to a city made by a different player, I was like hesitant to really build it out because I was like, well, this other person will build out this city. Not for this game, they won't. So that's my whole situation. Ooh, for Aerith, the theme taught is that magic is the bloodstream of the universe. That's cool. In Aerd, it's like the arc of time and the language of creation. I love that image of like the bloodstream of the universe. Ooh, ancestor worship, going back to like divinity without gods, that's a really good example. Elemental magic, astrological magic. I love the image of astrological magic. In my theoretical world, magic users are born, but being able to cast magic is an affliction that dooms them to death. The source of their magic is a corpse god, which is why clerics hate them. Clerics hate them. They cast magic using this one trick. It's... What's a fatal thing?
A fatal thing?
Yeah.
Getting stabbed?
It's getting stabbed. It's cancer.
Holy shit.
The concert is at Bridgestone Arena. Nice. You should go to the GameKeep in Hermitage, best gaming store in Middle Tennessee. I have that saved in my phone, and we have not been there yet. I saved that place in my phone, like on Google Maps, when I moved here 2 years ago, and just... I haven't gotten out very much as I've wanted to. Now that opportunity is more like... have a lot more ability to like get out of the apartment now, but in D&D Mystara, they didn't have gods. They had mortals who became immortals and granted divine powers. The BECMI rules gave rules for becoming immortal. You had to have followers to maintain your powers. That's cool. So is that a game where you all play immortals? And you like there's a mechanic where you have to like maintain followers and like do certain stuff? You got to have ownership of your setting to make meaningful calls for it. That's so true. That's completely true. And I think that like knowing what I know now and having done it once, and like if I were to go back in, I think it would be a lot more like organized of an experience. The corpse god is the adversary and is believed to be gathering followers this way, which is why clerical theocracies despise arcane magic. That's awesome. Wait, so gathering followers this way. Do you mean like with necromancy? Wait, did I just invent something? Oh, Aerith is also the flower girl from Final Fantasy VII. I think that's what I recognize the word from, maybe. That's okay. Okay, I think I'm sort of caught up. One of the crazy ideas I have made is making some of the villains are just robots, but they have a human soul. But the soul is for someone like Hitler. I would love to play in a game where I get to kill robot Hitler. That'd be great. Very like therapeutic. I had a similar kind of well, I guess not really similar. One of my favorite characters that I've ever created was a 5e character. She was a Warforged Echo Knight. And her name was Rory, which was short for error, which was her first word when she like powered on after being inert for like centuries. In the story, the very brief story of Rory, there was a mother and there was a daughter. The mother's name was Elana and the daughter's name was Vula. Yeah. And the mother, Elana, was this famed like alchemist. Not magical, but like this kind of court alchemist who was very prestiged. And she always dreamed of having like a mage offspring. Her daughter, God, I keep wanting to say Venana. It's not Venana, it's Vula. Venana is a different character. Vula was born not magical, but she's a dancer. And so she grows up being put through rigorous like dancing classes and dances for the court and like very like kind of prestigious title for a prestigious family, really. However, things take a turn for the worst, and Vula becomes very sick and dies. She dies very young, and things kind of go to shit in the Elven Kingdom where they live. Oh yeah, Elana and Vula are both elves, and there's like rebellions happening, and Elana is becoming more and more afraid of death, and so she grave robs her daughter's corpse and holds it up in her like workshop and begins doing all these experiments and building out this kind of mech out of her daughter's body, with the idea being that she's going to find a way to basically download her soul into Vula's body, which will be young and capable, never age, never like be at risk from anything, basically. And she'll never die. She'll be immortal. So she does it. It almost works, but the long story short, it kind of goes wrong. And so Elana and Vula's souls are both kind of in this body, and she's kind of alive but not active, and she's not an elf anymore. She's like looks outwardly like an elf, but the inside is all like metal and like like magic and enchantment and just crazy shit. And yeah, the experiment happened, and like she was just inert for centuries, and then the world flooded, and she was discovered by like a new seafaring civilization called the Flotilla, and was brought back up to one of the boats, and her like reactivated, and then her adventure began. And I had this mechanic where there were certain memory triggers for her. So like just certain sensory things, like the taste of plums was one of them. The sight of glowing jellyfish was another one. Being embarrassed was a sensory trigger. And she had like memories that had maybe 3 or 4 sensory triggers. And as she would remember each memory, kind of going through all these different like things, she would act more like Vula or Ilana based on how many of their memories she recovered. And it was so much fun. It was awesome. I was quite proud of that one. She had a great journey. Then she had a daughter eventually named Vanana. So, but man, I've been rambling for a while. My world is pretty dark. Monsters are truly monsters. They are just another species type of thing. Oh, no, they are just another species of thing. Goblins steal children to turn into new goblins. Minotaurs are created by a dark ritual that requires the sacrifice of a life that uses a cow as part of the ritual. Nightmares are created by the corruption of a Pegasus, etc. Evil can't create. It can only corrupt. So all evil stems from the evil in mortal hearts. I like that a lot. Evil can't create, it can only corrupt. I feel like you can carry that thread and like make that alive in like that sounds like it could be a doctrine for like some sort of like monster fighting order or like a court of justice or like all sorts of things. Man, oh man. I just realized we've blown right past our time here. That was the doctrine for the world building of Middle-earth. Was it really? I can see it for sure. That's hella cool. Like, was that actually a thing on purpose? I don't know what I'm Googling here. Doctrine of Middle-earth. That's not gonna show me anything. Middle-earth is part of the created world Ea, ruled by the one god Eru Ilúvatar, who in Tolkien's words remains remote outside of the world, making it in principle monotheistic and thus compatible with Christianity. Cool. So we got all the important stuff covered. Man, I just got here and it's winding down. Doggy! Welcome in! So good to have you. Thanks for popping by. We are kind of winding down. We've gone a little bit over time. But this was super fun. We've just been like talking world building. If to run, please keep in touch. It was fun talking to you. Come back again. I'm live here every Monday. And then we have other stuff every other day of the week, basically, with people that are much smarter than me. So check back tomorrow at 4:30. Our boss, Steve Chenault, who owns this company, Troll Lord Games, is going to be doing an AMA, talking a lot about like fantasy role-playing and world building and games and all sorts of stuff too. His Roman Catholic background was extremely influential in how he built his world. That I did read somewhere. And also his friend Narnia, C.S. Lewis. Yeah.
I don't know if they're friends. They were contemporaries for sure.
Weren't they friends?
I don't know. Maybe.
Were J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis pals.
Were they buddies?
Were they buddies? Even though Lewis and Tolkien drifted apart as friends, Tolkien went to visit Lewis on his deathbed
Aww.
and wrote about him positively. Their
That's
friendship was a
sweet.
true one. That is sweet. Dougie says, "Hi, Knock."
Hi, Dougie.
Hi, Dougie. Tolkien also used his experience in World War One. I imagine you have to.
Sure.
That is a mighty thing to draw on. Gosh.
That's
That
what-
reminds me of the Frank Lloyd Wright and Alden Dow story.
Oh.
I think I have to tell it. And then we'll rate somebody. So this is a little bit of history. This is one of my favorite stories ever, and we can end on this. This is a real thing that happened. I love history of like mid-century modern like architects and designers. They're so interesting. They lived such dramatic, crazy lives. It's awesome. Hey, Azur, welcome in. We are just winding down, but it's good to see you. So, okay, so everyone knows who Frank Lloyd Wright is. Famous architect, designer of Falling Waters and a bunch of other properties like across the world. Switching to listening in the car mode. Thanks for hanging out, Manfred. It was really great to see you. I appreciate you. We are just kind of winding down. I'm just going to tell this story and probably jet. So we have Frank Lloyd Wright, who is a famous architect and designer, I guess. I think maybe he designed some things. The college campus near us has a Frank Lloyd Wright design theater. Yeah, his stuff is everywhere. But he, together with his wife, Oleana, I believe. Let me just make sure I have her name right. Right. Oleana. Okay. Oljivana. Okay. So Frank Lloyd Wright had 3 marriages in his life. The second was Oljivana, I believe. Second or third. But Frank and Oljivana, they started this fellowship program at Taliesin. And it was basically this program where architects, men, could come and study with Frank, and then their wives and families could come and they would study with Oljivana, and they would do like sewing and like domestic stuff. Alden Dow is an architect from Michigan. He is the one and only architect laureate of Michigan. He was a student of Frank Lloyd Wright's. Incredible person. Just so interesting. If you're at all interested in like philosophy, different artistic mediums, design, anything like that, such a cool person to study. But the year is 1933, and Alden Dow is he's not newly married to his wife Veda, but the two of them, I think I've heard the story. You might have. I've told it before. Thank you for your patience. I just love this story so much. So Alden and his wife Veda are living together in Michigan, and they hear about this fellowship. And Veda's not super enthused. She is an educated woman. She's a school teacher, incredibly smart. She was one of the coolest women ever. Different story. But Alden enrolls in this fellowship. He gets a spot and he goes, and Veda goes with him, obviously. So Alden is studying under Frank. Frank is notoriously awful to get along with. He is a notorious asshole. And Veda, in the meantime, is like studying with Oljivana and all of these other women. Oljivana loves Veda, thinks she's so cool. They get along famously. They want to be like best friends. So Alden's fellowship ends, and he and Veda go home. But he and Frank carry on this like friendship, which, you know, Frank Lloyd Wright had friends, but like someone who was a student of his to like rise up and to be so close with each other, like just their relationship was different. And their families would visit each other all the time. Alden eventually built his own home, the Alden B. Dow Home and Studios, which is now a National Historic Landmark. Frank Lloyd Wright and old Giovanna went and stayed with them. All sorts of stuff happened. Several years go by. Eventually, there is this commission that's open in Arizona. I believe it was Phoenix. And they needed an art gallery. They had no, like, capital city, like, art gallery. And so they were like, we will award this commission to whoever can give us the best design and the best price. Frank Lloyd Wright and Alden Dow both apply. Alden gets it instead of Frank. So these two men sit down to their typewriters and they type out letters to each other. Frank Lloyd Wright's letter to Alden was atrocious. It was name-calling. He called him like a cheap competitor, like accusing him of like undercutting him. Like I brought you up in the design world and this is how you repay me. You like sweep this out from under my legs. All of this like nasty, nasty shit. Alden Dow writes his letter to Frank and it's, oh my God, you were the first person I wanted to tell. Guess what I just did? So they both receive each other's letters, and Frank is outraged. This was just fuel on the fire to receive this, like, happy letter from Alden about, like, hey, guess what I just did? I'm so excited to have this commission that I got. And, like, it was just rubbing salt in the wound for Frank. And Alden receives this letter from Frank. He's like, oh my God. Dude, I thought we were friends. And so Alden sits down and writes another letter to Frank. And that letter begins, in my garden, I have chosen to plant roses in one spot and daisies in another. No, it's not roses and daisies. It's something else and daisies. I have the letter, but I don't know where it is. Man, I wish I could pull it out right now. But basically, he writes this beautiful, beautiful letter about being a gardener and I think it was lilies and daisies. He wrote, perhaps the lily looks upon the daisy as a cheap competitor, but as a gardener, this idea never occurs to me. It's basically like you're here trying to like call out me as like a cheap competitor, but I'm just trying to create beautiful things in the world, man. You're down here in the dirt and I'm just trying to like grow flowers and make awesome buildings. And he goes on to say, oh, if I can remember it, the rose, for all its beauty, defies every kind of association. It pricks the fingers of those who reach to admire it and tears and slashes at any plants that try to grow near. I would prize the highest and love the most a rose without thorns. It's the most stunning takedown of another person that I've ever seen. After reading this letter, I want to handle all of my conflict this way. But that's beside the point. So this happens. These two men don't speak for, I think, decades. Until Veda sits down and she types out a letter to old Giovanna. She says, hey, bitch, I miss you. And old Giovanna says, bitch, I miss you. Our husbands are being so stupid. And she says, I know. And she says, what do we do about it? And Veda says, let's parent trap them in real life. And so this is what they do. They individually plan trips. They plan family trips to Mackinac Island. If you've never been to Mackinac Island, it's a little island north of Michigan, south of the UP, Michigan. But they plan family trips to Michigan, to Mackinac Island, the Grand Hotel, right? And they don't tell their husband what they're plotting, obviously. That would defeat the point. And they arrive at the same time, and they're like, "Oh, dearest, let's tour the grounds. Let's walk around this hotel and see everything. Let's check it all out." And I don't know if anyone has been to the Grand Hotel in Mackinac Island, but there is this massive ballroom with different entrances on opposite sides of the hallway. And Veda leads in Alden on one side, and old Giovanna leads in Frank on the other side. And then they pull their arms out, go back out the door, close the doors, and lock them. And they lock their husbands in the grand ballroom of the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island, and they don't let them out until they reconcile. And their friendship was never what it was, but they maintained a polite correspondence until Frank's death. After that, they were on speaking terms again. That is one of my favorite stories ever. I just love that happened. That's a magnificent story. I never heard that. I'm so glad that you liked it. That's one of my favorite stories ever. By the way, when do you stream? Is it always this time? If it is, it will be hard for me to always be here. So it's always this time. But if you want to join us in Discord, we hang out there all the time. Let me just go ahead and grab this invite link one more time. I'm going to go ahead and copy paste. This should go to all of our different channels, so definitely hang out in Discord. That way, if you can't make it, we're still always there. But yeah, thank you all for letting me tell that story. It's one of my favorites. Frank Lloyd Wright was such an asshole. He was such a dick. He was such an asshole. But basically, that's it. Basically, that's the end, and we're gonna go ahead and find somebody to raid. Come back. Hang on, news. Okay, so important things to happen today. We released our new State of the Dens. It's the first one in, I think, years. So definitely check it out here. Hey, Mortal, when did you get here? It's so good to see you. We additionally are going to be offering a not brand new, I'm just saying words, a classic reprint of the very, very first edition of the Castles and Crusades Player's Handbook. And it's going to be embossed with our new 2520 logo, which was designed by Nick, and then signed by Davis and Steve. So definitely go ahead and pre-order that if you want awesome things. What else? We are doing pre-orders also for the Gygaxian Fantasy World series. I'm finding all these links, y'all. I'm sorry. This is basically, we're talking about world building tonight. This is the encyclopedia on world building. This is 7 volumes originally. More were planned before Gary Gygax's death. We will probably try to bring those more than just that 7 that were published. We'll probably try to do the ones that were planned for and actually bring them to the world. We're super excited about it. So definitely sign up for pre-orders. Not sign up for pre-orders, for early notifications. It is free. It is not a commitment to anything except getting more information about an awesome project that we're really excited for. And yeah. So we're having a staff meeting this week. Sick. I'll keep an eye But yeah, we are going to go ahead and toss a raid. Why not to Adrian? We love Adrian. We're going to go see our buddy Adrian. They're playing some Baldur's Gate 3. Go, be sweet. If you want, if you have a second. Oh, and by the way, this raid is for everybody on Twitch. So those of you on YouTube and Facebook, thanks for tuning in. For those of you on Twitch, the party's going to continue. We're going to go see Adrian. If you have a moment, say something nice. Say something nice about the stream, about the streamer, about what she's doing. That means the world to people. When like a raid comes in and everyone's like super nice, it really just makes people's day. So if you have a second to spare, just like say one nice thing about the stream before you peace out for the night, and I'll be right there with you doing the same. But we're gonna raid. We're gonna go show love. We're gonna be back here tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Central for Steve's AMA. And fucking, I'll see you later. Bye, friends. Thanks for hanging out.